Woo! Cat!
Let's get ready to rumble!
I'm a bad man! I still got the world! I still got the world! My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious.
I feel I'm the best ever. I broke everybody's record. Tell me who record I haven't broke.
Colossal Boxing Talk.
What's up, YouTube? This is Smooth Cat with Colossal Boxing Talk, as you guys know already. And I'm back with my show, Forgotten Fighters. Today, the fighter that I want to profile is Ronald Winky Wright. As we know, his birth name, Ronald Lamont Wright. He was born November 26, 1971. Birthplace, Washington, D.C. His hometown is St. Petersburg, Florida. As we know, he was a southpaw, 5'10 and a half, 5'11 inch, 72 inch reach. He had a professional boxing record of 51 wins, 25 by way of knockout, and 6 defeats, and 1 draw. But Winky Wright, one of the best 154 pounders of his era. Winky Wright had a lot of fights where he was a very dangerous fighter to fight for the big name fighters, the stars, the Shane Mosleys, the Oscar De La Hoyas, Felix Trinidad's, and all those guys of that sorts. But first off, let's get into his amateur background. His trainer was Dan Birmingham. His managers were James Prince was one of his former managers, and he's currently managed by Chris Lightly. But as we know, like I said, his amateur background in 1989, he at 139 pounds, he won the most outstanding boxer of the amateur tournament that he was in. He had a dominant unanimous decision win over a guy named William McDermott, who's also from Orlando, Florida. He was very impressive in that tournament. His next tournament was where he went up against a guy named Jesse Lucero, who he lost a split decision to. He went on in the amateurs. He had an amateur record of 52 wins and 4 defeats with Winky Wright. As we know, Winky Wright, like I say, he was a spoiler type fighter. He was very highly skilled, very dangerous. So early in his career, he didn't get a lot of opportunities to face the superstar type fighters. But he took advantage of the fighters of the guys that he was fighting, and he was dominant. He scoring knockouts, unanimous decision wins, and things of that sort. And his defense, the high guard defense, is a defense that, if you guys have heard me, I'm normally not too fond of it, because a lot of guys get in the high guard and they kind of stall their offense. But Winky Wright isn't the type. He doesn't stall his offense with it. He was good at countering out of the guard, shooting the jab, and being very dominant. Okay, the first big fight of his career was against Bronco McCart, who was at that time the WBO super welterweight champion. And in that fight, Winky Wright was very good, very elusive, and he went on to win a split decision to become the WBO super welterweight champion. After that, he defended the title for 5 times. No. He defended it 4 times, and then he went on and he lost a majority decision to Harry Simon in a very close competitive fight that a lot of people felt could have went either way. But we know Winky Wright, he was on the end of a couple of controversial decisions in his career. But with that said, after that fight, he fought a fight in between. Then he went on to go up against Fernando Vargas, one of the best junior middleweights in the world at that time, and he lost a very widely disputed majority decision in a fight where a lot of people had him winning, but the judges didn't see it that way. Jim Howard had it 115-113 for Vargas, and Deborah Barnes had it 116-112 for Vargas, and Dave Hess with 114-114. That was the card. I mean, a lot of people were more inclined to agree with than anything. But after that fight, he went up against Bronco McCart again, and this time he won a clear unanimous decision against Bronco McCart, winning the NABF Super Welterweight title and a vacant USBA Welterweight title, Super Welterweight title. He then went on to challenge for the vacant IBF Super Welterweight title against Robert Frazier in the fight where he was very dominant. He basically shut Robert Frazier out in dominant fashion. And yet again, to set up a trilogy with Bronco McCart, they fought again. And in this fight, Bronco McCart was disqualified. But to fast forward a little, this is when the first major fight of his career, when Shane Mosley moved up to 154 pounds. He was the WBC World Super Welterweight champ and the WBA champ. Ronald Winky Wright was the IBF champion, and they fought to unify the division. And in that fight is when the star was born, because Ronald Winky Wright, he put on a very solid, dominant performance against Shane Mosley. He like I say, very dominant. From pillar to post, it was obvious that he was the better fighter of the two. Mosley had no answer to respond to his jab. Mosley was just, he tried his hardest, but Winky Wright was so skilled, so talented. It's Mosley, no matter what Mosley was doing, Winky Wright had an answer for everything Mosley had. But Mosley never had an answer for what Winky Wright was presenting to him. So they had an immediate rematch, and in the rematch, Winky Wright won a majority decision, and in a fight that was it was a lot closer, but it was still very clear that Winky Wright won the fight. But Mosley did he gave it his all in that second fight against Winky Wright. Excuse me, he gave it his all. After that, Winky Wright went on to face Felix Trinidad. He moved up to middleweight, and in that fight, Winky Wright completely dominated Felix Trinidad, winning 120, 107, 119, 108, and 119, 108. He was dominant. One judge had him, Dwayne Ford had him winning every round. Moretti and Jerry Roth had him only losing one round to Trinidad. So, like I said, he was very, very dominant against Trinidad. Very dominant. But after that fight, he went on to eventually challenge the WBC and WBO middleweight champion, who was undefeated at that time, Jermaine Taylor. And in that fight with Jermaine Taylor, it was a fight. I felt Winky Wright won that fight. I really did. But the judges, they decided Melvina Lathan she called it a draw, and Ray Hawkins had it for Winky, and Chuck Chiampa had it for Taylor. And like I said, another close affair. Another fight is the Ike Quartet fight. That's a fight where Winky Wright was dominant yet again. His defense was just too good, and he scored a solid unanimous decision win against Ike Quartet. The thing with Winky Wright is, he in world title fights, he had 11 wins, 3 defeats, and 1 draw. 3 wins coming by way of knockout. He has a record of 9 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw against former or current world champions. As I stated earlier, excuse me, he defeated Bronco McCart 3 times. He beat Keith Mullins and Shane Mosley twice. He beat Felix Trinidad, Sam Solomon, Ike Corte all one time. He lost against Julio Cesar Vasquez, and he lost to Harry Simon in a very close fight. Okay, all his losses except the last two between Paul Williams and Peter Quillen, all of his losses were close, very close fights. But and see, I think he was at the tail end of his career. By the time he fought, he was like way past his prime when he fought Quillen. With Williams was just he was just like he was too, his offense and the many punches he threw, he was just too much for him at that time. But Winky Wright, overall, he's a great fighter that, in my opinion, he gets overlooked a lot because a lot of people they don't necessarily, when you hear them talk about greats, you don't hear them mention Winky Wright. But in my opinion, Winky Wright is a great fighter, and I also feel that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. A lot of people will disagree with me on that, and that's fine for you to disagree with me on that. But I do feel that Winky Wright is a very underappreciated fighter, and basically he has been forgotten because he's had a lot of long stretches of inactivity, whether it was on him and him in the situation with his manager, or any other occurrences that which caused him not to be in the ring. But when he was in the ring, Winky Wright was exciting, a great defensive fighter, very intelligent fighter, and he got the job done. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to hold this video too much longer. Leave comments in the comment section about the video, what you think of it. Is it something that you guys feel I missed out on potentially? Or if it's something that you feel I could have touched on that I didn't. Like I said, leave comments below. I will respond to you. Also, subscribe to Colossal Boxing Talk. As you guys know, like I say, we're here to bring you unbiased, objective videos, great breakdowns, and like I say, we're here to discuss boxing. We love boxing, and we know you guys love boxing because you guys are tuning in. So we're all in the same boat. We love boxing, but without our supporters watching us, supporting us, giving us constant inspiration, we would be nowhere. So like I say, thank you guys for all the support all over social media. Thank you for the Facebook supporters, Twitter and Instagram, YouTube supporters, and thank you for just all you supporters. Thank every last one of you. Last but not least, shout out to all you guys on YouTube who do consistently watch the videos. We appreciate that. I am Smooth Cat, and I'm out.
Yeah, we know we knock 'em down. You know we knock 'em down. Knock 'em down.